Welcome to today's YouTube video, everybody. So this episode is actually going to be the same content that is on the Business Meets Fitness podcast. However, I'm just bringing it into a new format for you. So we're going to be showing the full podcast, and I'm going to be talking about starting a business and how to essentially grow from the ground up. So you're at level 0 and you want to be reaching for the stars. So I'm just going to help you with how you can begin. So there are two ways that we can look at this. There are those people who have already built their social media following, and then there are also people who are just generally just entrepreneurs. They want to start a new business. So I'm going to be firstly talking about the people who are just general entrepreneurs, because far less people have already built up their following than those who are entrepreneurs and want to get their business rolling. So let's just take a freelance videographer, for example, who wants to start getting some new work. They may be like, how the hell am I going to get work? Now, they of course have the advantage of the fact that they can take really nice videos really easily and offer to work for free for people. So that is something massive that I would say is offer to work for free, because that is something that can get you your portfolio. And having a portfolio is so incredibly vital when it comes to freelance work, but also when it comes to many businesses. Let's say you want to be a freelance accountant and you want to start an accounting firm. Have you got the previous experience to show that you are good? Because that's what people want to know. They're not just going to trust you right away. And especially if you are starting a business where you do need some sort of qualification. For example, if you're a personal trainer, then make sure you do have those qualifications and that you've got all the insurance needed, because you don't want to get yourself in a bad place. So then when it comes to actually building a physical business, you may be a bit confused about how you go about it and how much money it's going to need. And if it seems like something that's going to cost a lot of money, like you're wanting to start an app or something, you've got this great concept, then a really great idea is to partner up with someone who is technical. And because I don't know, maybe you are, but if you're not, you need someone who is. Because if you're building a website platforms type of thing where consumers are going to be interacting and there's going to be some sort of need for very advanced coding, then the best thing to do is to get a co-founder who is a web developer or an app developer, because paying people to do jobs is all well and good when it comes to the tech world, but actually working alongside them is going to be the most fundamental thing. So finding someone who has the same vision as you and who absolutely loves your brand and your concept is going to be important, but also working together with them in the long term, because then you can grow together and you also know exactly what it is that you want, because you know you can make sure that you're getting what you want. So then when it comes to things like SEO, people seem to be massively confused. So this is something where I just strongly advise you do your research. And guys, you can figure out so much stuff from simply Googling things. And I think this is something that's often underlooked by many people. They just want to ask questions all the time rather than just doing a bit of research themselves. Because if you actually do this research yourself, you'd be amazed about how much you can find and also how much money you can save, rather than just hiring a consultant for every single aspect and outsourcing everything. Now, it is really good, that's my next point, to outsource things. However, there is, especially at the very beginning stages, there are certain things that you need to know a lot about. And I would say SEO is a big one, and also social media marketing. Now, this is obviously where you're working on getting your brand, publicized and promoted and getting people and customers to come in. So social media these days can make a huge impact. So what we'll talk about later is the building a business for those who already have their social following. However, it's really important to build a social media following, and this is because let's say you have 5,000 followers, then that's 5,000 potential people who might want to buy from your company or use your service, and this is absolutely massive. So if you've got this following, then you've got people that you can sell to straight away essentially. And that is so valuable, especially if they start tagging people in your post. You just want to make sure you're posting quality content and that you're also pushing your social media a lot, because that it really is valuable. And at the moment, things such as Facebook ads are so cheap compared to other forms of advertising. So this is something that I would definitely look into if I were you. And then reaching out to influencers. Now, micro influencers are probably the people that I would advise a new business to start working with. People who have, I don't know, say between 7,000 to around 60 to 70,000 followers. They are the people who you're going to get the most bang for your buck with, or people who have gained followers rapidly. Because the people who have gained followers rapidly, they don't really know how to act with. It's like if someone wins the lottery or something. If you win the lottery, you wake up one day and you're absolutely loaded, and tons of people just end up splashing loads of cash and spending all their money right away. Now, this analogy I've given here is because if you, let's say you get a viral post and then you gain 30,000 followers within 2 weeks or something, then, well, you're going to have brands contacting you, offering you 20 quid for a post or 100 quid for a post. And this is so cheap for those followers, because when people gain followers, okay, so let's say I decide to follow someone, and the person I decide to follow is called Jade. Okay, so I follow Jade, and then I'm going to start seeing Jade's photo on my feed because I've followed her recently. Okay, so if someone's gained followers recently, then they are going to have a huge amount of people coming to their page. So, you know, that's a really good opportunity for you to swing in there to get, firstly, a cheap ad, and secondly, a lot of people actually seeing that ad. So that is what I just say, get really clued up on your social media and social media marketing. If you're going to outsource something, then maybe you could outsource that. There are a lot of social media freelance people who are doing social media for brands as their full-time job now, so they know it really well. And okay, another thing is, for anyone who is building a business, is you need to know the industry you're in. You need to know it so well. So then if you're doing something that's a little bit more general, such as I said earlier, videography, photography, then maybe you need to know like the hottest kind of types of shot or something. I don't know, but that one's a little bit harder, because I guess if you are doing videography and stuff, typically you would focus in on a particular industry. So let's say you're a fitness photographer or something, then you should know what's going on in the fitness industry at that time, just because then you can make sure that you can follow the trend with your content. Because let's say gym-based shots are really popular 5 years ago, whereas now people like taking photos outdoors. You want to be able to offer the best thing to the consumer. So I really, really strongly advise that. So now we need to talk about other ways to get new customers, essentially, if you don't already have your social media following. So, you know, old school things, leafleting, phoning people, putting ads in the newspaper. I don't know if that really works these days. It depends what your business is, but maybe having branding on your car, all small things like this can help. But I think word of mouth is probably the best. Word of mouth is so incredibly valuable. So maybe to your family, maybe you've got a few family friends, your next door neighbor, just say to them, hey, I'm an accountant, I will help you out, as I was talking about earlier, to get the portfolio. Or maybe just say, if you have any friends who need an accountant, please just let them know that I'm an accountant and I'm looking for work. That is incredible, because if your friend or your mum goes and refers you, and you can get customers through that pretty easily, okay? So I think that's just so valuable. Make it known, post on your own Facebook page to all your friends about what you're doing when you're starting your business. You just need to be accountable, because I feel like a lot of times people start businesses and kind of do it in the dark because they don't really want anyone to know, but you need to be accountable to people to make sure you are actually progressing in your business. And another thing to add is that you need constructive criticism and feedback in whatever you're doing. Now, especially if you're a sole trader, make sure you get registered as a tax registered and all that stuff. I don't really know too much about all the accounting stuff, but I would definitely say just get an accountant if you're not too hot on that, because you need to make sure that you're acing all your tax, and because otherwise you're gonna get a hell of a fine, and you can also get in like tons of trouble for it as well. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So I've spoken about a lot here. I feel like I need to also talk about businesses who are going to have a large need for money. So you may want to go through funding, and then I would honestly just recommend researching into the different types of funding that you can get, because there's tons of different series of funding, and it's all a very long and complicated podcast that is not going to be able to be covered in this. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to know, but I doubt there's many people in my audience at this stage who are. I don't know too much about it myself, but I'm just quite interested in it, so I do a bit of research into it anyways. Move on to talking about people who have their following already. I just quickly want to say it's something that's so great. It's just handing out your business card, but not just giving it when you're at a networking event or something. Go to networking events. Yes, that only just came to me. Brilliant. Yeah, go to networking events. I've been to tons of not only networking events, but I've also been to entrepreneur networking events, and it's so scary. But I just bring a few of my business cards with me, go there and chat to people, and it's great because you meet people in all sorts of industries who you can then work with in the future. You can, use their business, and you can just help out each other. But that's really important. But then another thing for various different people, let's say you were, I don't know, a plumber. You could go into a gym and say, hi, I'm a plumber, I'm freelance, if you ever need any plumbing, then here's my business card, or here are my details, and then you can just get that going. And then, so that's that, and I think that is enough for now, enough information, other than when it comes to employing people, you obviously, you need to do your thing and work with people who you get on with. That's just so important. Okay, so now let's talk about, you've already built a following or you've already built a business, and then kind of how to go on from there. So you need to obviously make sure the business runs well. You need to make sure you're working in the business rather than just working on it, You need to really focus on all of the small little tasks inside. You need to make sure they're all streamlined and that they're efficient. And if you have people working for you, you need to make sure that they're actually doing their thing, hitting their deadlines, and just being on top of the game, really. Because if they're falling behind, maybe you might want to have words with them and all that type of stuff. And then I think as time goes on, it's really important to develop the business. So for example, I was selling the Strength Feed training guide only, and that's a workout training program. I was selling that, and then I decided to release another training guide because as time went on, I saw the trend in the industry that people wanted to know how to tone up. This was a question I was getting all the time, and they were wanting kind of a workout guide which was maybe more for beginners, not quite as advanced as a Strength Feed training guide. So I essentially catered to my audience, but I also made sure I developed the business. I wanted to, after my first big hit, as it were, I wanted to then make sure my business further progressed so that I could firstly, develop my business, and also secondly, give people what they want. And I just think it's so important to listen to the feedback and to develop as time goes on. Again, for my personal brand, this is kind of different, but for those who are maybe social media influencers who are listening or watching to this, you basically, you can do guide after guide after guide after guide. Let's say you're a fitness influencer. However, it does get kind of boring, so you may want to diversify, go to something such as clothing. Maybe if you are also into something else like I am, I started gymcred.com, so that's just a website selling lifting equipment and stuff. So if you're watching that on the YouTube video, it is all linked in the description box below. And then my biggest takeaways from this, guys, is that you need to take action. You need to make sure that you are actually doing. It's all well and good consuming this content right now, but if you don't actually take anything from it and implement it right now, then it is going to do absolutely nothing. So if I were you, I would even watch this whole entire thing again and write some notes and figure out what your next steps are going to be, because taking action is so incredibly important. And that is what my next Tickner's Tips podcast is going to be about. So I hope you have liked today's episode of the Business Meets Fitness podcast. Please do remember to share it if you do like this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one.